Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really looking forward to this one.
So, today I want you to picture something. Picture a group of friends, women in their 40s just sitting around a living room.
Mm-hmm.
There's wine, good wine, there's cheese, and there's a stack of books sitting right there on the coffee table. But here is the kicker. Nobody is talking about the books. In fact, nobody has even read the books.
It's kind of the dirty little secret of adulthood, isn't it? The aspirational book club.
Exactly. I mean, it's the book club that isn't really a book club at all. And today we are unpacking a story that starts right there in that very relatable, very cozy setting, and then proceeds to just pull the rug out from under absolutely everyone involved. We are diving into Anna Quindlen's novel, More Than Enough.
And what a title that is.
Yeah.
Because the book is really an exploration of the exact opposite feeling.
Right.
It's about the feeling of not having enough. Like not enough time, not enough certainty, and for our protagonist, quite literally not enough family.
Right. It's about that midlife pivot where you look around and you ask yourself, is this it? Is this the life I ordered? So let's lay it out. What is the central engine of this story? Because it sounds cozy, right? But I know Quindlen. There are usually some really sharp edges hidden in those sofa cushions.
Oh, there are definitely sharp edges.
Yeah.
So the story follows Polly Goodman. She is 43, she's an English teacher, and she's our narrator. And the engine of the whole plot is a gift, a birthday gift given to her by this very group of friends.
Let me guess.
It's a DNA test kit.
Of course it is.
You know, one of those spit in a tube and find out you're 4% Viking kind of things.
Which are literally everywhere now. I mean, everyone gets them as stocking stuffers or gag gifts.
Exactly. And it's meant to be a joke.
Yeah.
It's a bit of fun. But for Polly, this test acts like a hand grenade tossed right into the center of her life. It unravels her marriage, her history, and her entire understanding of who she actually is.
I love that premise so much, the Trojan horse gift. But before we get to the explosion, I feel like we need to understand what was actually destroyed. Let's talk about this book club.
Yeah.
Because the dynamics here are so specific and honestly so telling.
They really are. Quindlen actually calls it the book club that doesn't read the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to pause on why that exists, because on the surface it sounds kind of lazy, but psychologically it's a survival mechanism.
Oh, go on. Because I'm sure you sitting at home listening to this are probably thinking, why buy the book if you aren't going to read it?
Well, they buy the books to support the writers. That's the ethical justification they use.
Right, of course.
But the meeting itself, it's a sanctuary. These are 4 women who have been meeting for 12 years. 12 years. They have seen each other through marriages and divorces and career changes. They don't need literary criticism. They need a place to vent.
They call it petty grievances, right?
Yes, petty grievances. I just love that phrase. It's this designated time to complain about the small stuff. The husband who loads the dishwasher wrong, or the colleague who chews too loudly. Because the big stuff, the real life and death stuff, is often just too terrifying to articulate.
The petty stuff is safe.
Exactly. The petty stuff keeps you grounded.
It's like a pressure valve.
Yeah.
If you release the steam on the small things, you don't blow up at the dinner table later. So who are these women? Let's meet the squad.
They are essentially the Greek chorus of Polly's life. So first you have Polly herself. She's the narrator. She's an English teacher at the Windsor School, which is an all-girls school in New York City. And ironically, she's the only one in the club who actually devours the books. She loves them.
Naturally, she's the English teacher.
Right. But she is currently defined by this really deep sense of longing. She wants a child, and she can't seem to have one.
So she's the one really feeling that scarcity. Who else is at the table?
Next is Sarah. And if you have a friend group, you probably have a Sarah. She's the glue. Polly describes her as kindness cubed. She's wealthy, she's a philanthropist, and she's a widow. She is the one who always remembers the birthdays, the one who smooths over all the arguments.
But she's hiding something, isn't she?
She is. And this is the real tension in the room. Sarah is battling a recurrence of breast cancer, but she hasn't told the group yet.
Wow.
Yeah, she's sitting there drinking the wine, smiling the jokes, all while carrying this massive existential secret.
That is just heartbreaking. It changes entirely how you view her kindness, doesn't it? It's almost like she is protecting them from her reality.
100%. She is prioritizing their comfort over her own need for support, at least initially. Then to balance out that sweetness you have Jamie.
The abrasive one.
The abrasive therapist. Which is honestly a terrifying combination. Can you imagine a therapist who has no filter?
Total nightmare fuel.
Right. Jamie is cynical, she's funny, and she's highly prone to complaining. She has this verbal ethic where she repeats things for emphasis, like she'll say everything, everything. She is the one who voices the darker thoughts that the others are just too polite to say out loud.
And the fourth?
Helen, the diplomat. She's a lawyer, a mother of 3. And get this, she recently had a surprise late-in-life baby.
Oh, wow. Read the room, Helen.
Exactly. You have Polly, who's desperate for just one child, sitting right across from Ellen, who just accidentally had a third.
Yeah.
That dynamic alone creates this incredible undercurrent of envy and guilt that Quindlen captures perfectly.
So the inciting incident happens at one of these meetings. It's Polly's birthday. They give her the DNA kit from a company called Roots and Branches. Why, though? Is it purely just a gag?
On the surface, yes, they frame it as a fun little activity, but they also know Polly is kind of obsessed with medical histories.
Because of the fertility issues.
Yes. Polly feels like her body is a black box. She's trying to get pregnant, it's not working, and she feels like she just doesn't have the owner's manual for her own genetics. Plus, looking around the table at Sarah's history, and Jamie's dad has Parkinson's, Polly is just hyper-aware of genetic legacy. The friends think they're giving her a tool to solve a medical puzzle.
They hand her a map, totally not realizing it leads straight off a cliff.
Perfectly put.
Yeah.
So she takes the test, she spits in the tube, seals it up, sends it off to the lab, and probably forgets about it for a few weeks. She's back to her life.
And her life is largely defined by her marriage to Mark Bailey. Now, I want to spend a minute on Mark because I feel like in a lot of fiction like this, the husband is either a straight-up villain or just a cardboard cutout. But Mark sounds really specific.
Mark is a fantastic character. He's the antidote to the bad husband trope. Polly's first husband, Benedict, was the classic cliché, flashy, arrogant, unfaithful. Mark is the accidental savior. They met after a fundraiser.
And he is a large animal veterinarian.
At the Bronx Zoo.
Okay, we have to talk about that. Large animal veterinarian. That is such a specific job title. It implies so much character without even describing him.
It really does. It implies physical strength, but also a profound gentleness. And Quindlen minds this for humor, too. Mark comes home with stories about the birth of a giraffe or dealing with an anteater.
Wait, is an anteater technically a large animal?
Polly actually corrects him on that. She's an English teacher, so she is super pedantic about the taxonomy of it all. But Mark just loves them. He's described as absent-minded in his personal life, like he's constantly losing his wallet, his backpack, his keys, but emotionally and in his work, he is brilliant.
I love that archetype. The absolute genius who can't find his car keys to save his life.
But there is a really cruel irony in his job description.
Yeah.
Think about it. What does he do all day?
He shoots animals.
He helps endangered species reproduce. He spends his entire day ensuring that bison and leopards and giraffes have babies. He is literally a professional facilitator of life.
And yet he and Polly can't do it.
Exactly. The book calls it the fertility thing.
Yeah.
And anyone who has been through IVF or prolonged infertility is going to recognize this shift in their marriage. It moves from romance to medicalization.
It stops being about us and starts being about the chart.
It's all shots and egg retrievals and very rigid schedules. Polly talks about seeing sonograms labeled Penelope Goodman's ovaries with follicles. It's clinical, it's unsexy, and it's deeply exhausting.
And the psychological toll of that, Polly talks about the envy, right? The feeling that everyone else out there has enough.
That is the core theme, scarcity. She walks down the street in New York City, and she just sees strollers everywhere. She feels like her body is failing her. She has a therapist named Janine at the fertility clinic, and half the time, Polly talks to her about everything except the baby, just to feel like a normal human being for an hour.
So you have this massive pressure cooker, the infertility, the envy, the feeling of being less than, and then the email arrives, the results from Roots and Branches.
The notification pops up. Polly logs in. Now, she probably expects a standard breakdown of regions, mostly British Isles, maybe some French. But that is not what catches her eye at all. There is a match.
A second-degree relative match.
Now, we really need to be clear about what this means biologically because Polly does the math instantly. In genetic testing, a first-degree relative is a parent, a sibling, or a child. You share about 50% of your DNA.
Okay, that makes sense.
A second-degree relative is the next tier down. You share about 25%. This includes grandparents, grandchildren, aunts, uncles, nieces, and nephews.
So it's a finite list. It's not just some random third cousin twice removed. It's close.
It is very close. So Polly starts the process of elimination. Grandparents, all deceased. Grandchildren, she has no kids, so that's impossible.
Aunts and uncles.
She knows them all. They're all accounted for. So that leaves the niece or nephew category.
But Polly only has one brother.
Garrison. And Garrison is gay. And to the best of absolutely everyone's knowledge, Garrison has never fathered a child.
So Polly is staring at the screen, and the math just isn't mathing.
Exactly. She immediately goes into full detective mode. Is the test broken? Did her Uncle Brian have some secret affair in the 80s? Or, and this is the thought she pushes away but just can't quite kill, did her father,
Her father, Jack.
Jack, who is currently living in an assisted living facility with dementia, did Jack have a secret life?
This is the exact moment the genre of the book shifts. We go from midlife drama straight into mystery. Polly decides she has to know. She messages the match.
And she gets a reply. The match is a young woman named Talia Burton. She is 20 years old.
Polly arranges a meeting. She literally drives up to Vermont. And can we just pause for a second to appreciate the name of the bakery where they meet?
Pie is infinite.
I want to go to there. I want a t-shirt with that on it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But the meeting itself is incredibly awkward. Polly walks in looking for someone who looks like her family. She meets Talia, and Talia is black.
And Polly is white.
Correct. So immediately, the tension kind of deflates, or at least it shifts. They both look at each other and think, okay, this cheap internet test made a massive mistake.
It's just a glitch in the algorithm.
Right. Talia explains her story. She was adopted. Her mother, Marguerite, was from Ghana, and she passed away recently. Talia was hoping this test would link her to her mother's relatives. She wanted a connection to her roots. Seeing Polly, this middle-aged white lady from New York, is a massive disappointment for her.
And for Polly, it's almost a relief. Like, okay, my dad didn't have a secret family after all. The computer is just wrong.
Precisely. They share a slice of infinite pie, and they prepare to just go their separate ways. But the connection doesn't break there. Talia introduces Polly to her grandmother,
Enter the matriarch of the alpaca farm.
Barbara Burton, or Granny B,
I am honestly obsessed with this setting. An alpaca farm in Vermont called Earthshine.
or Warm as Toast, which is the brand name for her actual sweaters. It's this very sensory, very tactile world. It smells like wool and hay and herbal tea. Barbara is the complete opposite of Polly's city life. She's described as this earth mother, hippy-dippy kind of person. She talks about healing vibrations and energy fields.
She sounds exactly like someone who would charge you $80 for a rock.
Oh, absolutely. But she's also incredibly warm. And Polly, despite all her city skepticism, is just drawn to her. She visits the farm again, and this time she brings back up. She brings Sarah, remember, the friend with the secret cancer, and her husband, Mark.
And this is where all the plot threads start to collide, because Barbara isn't just a sweater knitter. She claims to be a healer.
She does. And in a moment that honestly gives me goosebumps reading it, Barbara pulls Polly aside. They're amidst the alpacas. It's this incredibly peaceful, picturesque scene, and Barbara drops a total bomb. She tells Polly that her friend Sarah is sick.
She just senses it.
She senses it entirely. She says Sarah needs to see a doctor immediately.
That is chilling, because Polly already sort of suspects it, but having this stranger, this glitch in her DNA story, confirm it out of nowhere, that must be terrifying.
It forces Polly to confront reality. It validates her deepest anxiety. And it creates this incredibly strange bond between Polly and the Burtons. Even though the DNA doesn't make any logical sense, the connection feels completely real.
To really understand why this newfound connection, this found family out on the alpaca farm is so alluring to Polly, I think we have to look at where she came from. We need to talk about the Goodmans, specifically the judge.
The Honorable Mary K. Goodman.
Just the name sounds intimidating.
She is a truly formidable figure. She's a judge, and she apparently brings the gavel home with her. Polly describes her as cold, professional, and deeply judgmental.
The classic Ice Queen mother.
Yes. Polly feels like she is always on trial with her. There's a line where Polly describes their relationship as a predictably challenging dynamic. She feels her mother was always more interested in the law and precedent and statutes than in warmth or nurturing.
And the father, Jack.
He's the foil to all of that. Jack Goodman was the warm parent. He's the one Polly remembers hugging her, reading to her, making her feel actually safe. But now he is in Edgemere, which is the assisted living facility, and he is just fading away into dementia.
So Polly has already lost him in a way. She's clinging to the memory of his love because her mother offers absolutely none.
And that sharp contrast is exactly why she loves Mark's family so much. Mark's mother, Lou Bailey, is the dream mom. She knits, she bakes cinnamon toast. The Bailey house is soft, it's full of food and comfort. Polly essentially adopted herself into the Bailey family to escape the coldness of the Goodman house.
This theme of found family versus blood family is really the heartbeat of the entire book, and nowhere is that more painful or beautiful than in the story of Sarah. We're moving into what I'd call the tragic heart of the novel now.
We are. And it all starts with a storm. A literal storm damages Mark's parents' house. They need a place to stay while the repairs are made.
And Sarah, being kindness cube, steps up immediately.
She demands, really, that Lou and Skipper, that's Mark's dad, move into her country cottage. But then Sarah does something very interesting. She moves in with them.
She just leaves her city life. She leaves the other friends.
He does. And she finally admits the truth to Polly. She is dying. The cancer is back, and it's terminal. But she lays down the law. No pity party, no funeral, no wailing and gnashing of teeth.
He wants to control the exit.
She wants peace.
Yeah.
And she finds it with the Baileys. The cottage becomes her hospice, though she prefers to call it a port in a storm. It's this beautiful, heartbreaking arrangement where Mark's parents, who are practically strangers to her, become her caretakers. They become her family in the end.
She shields Helen and Jamie from the grit of it, right?
She does. She keeps the book club friends at a distance, letting them visit, but protecting them from the daily reality of her physical decline. It's her final act of kindness, but it's also a form of isolation.
And when she passes the will.
The will is a love letter. Sarah was childless. She didn't have heirs in the traditional sense, so she mothers her friends through her estate. She leaves the country cottage and a massive trust to Polly and Mark.
That changes their lives instantly.
Completely. It solves all their financial anxieties about the fertility treatments and their future. She leaves money to Helen and Jamie's charities. She even leaves money to the Bronx Zoo for the large animals naturally and to Polly's school.
It's the ultimate gesture of abundance. Sarah, who seemingly lost her battle, leaves behind enough to take care of everyone.
It reinforces that core idea. Sarah was Polly's sister. Not by blood, but by every single metric that actually matters in life.
So we have this resolution to the friendship arc. Sarah is gone, but her love remains. But we still have that loose thread, the DNA test, the glitch.
The glitch that wasn't a glitch.
Take us back to Earthshine.
So some time has passed. Sarah has died. Polly and Mark go back to the alpaca farm to visit Barbara. Mark, being the vet, is in absolute heaven. He's charming the animals. There was one alpaca named Hester Prynne, which is just perfect for an English teacher's story.
I bet Mark loves Hester.
He's probably checking her teeth.
Yeah.
But while Mark is with the animals, Polly wanders into the barn, and there is a man working there, a woodworker.
This is Andre Bettman.
Andre Bettman. He is Barbara's ex-husband, and crucially, he is Talia's grandfather.
Okay, so he is the patriarch of the Burton clan.
They start talking, just polite conversation, and then Andre stops. He looks at Polly. He looks really closely at her face, and he says 6 words that change absolutely everything.
What does he say?
He says, "You look just like your mother."
Whoa, wait, he knows Mary Goodman, the judge.
He knows her. And in that moment, the sunlight hits Andre's face. Or maybe he turns and Polly sees his eyes. They are blue.
And not just any blue.
The exact same shade of blue as Polly's eyes. The blue that neither Mary nor Jack Goodman has.
The penny drops. The math finally works.
The math works flawlessly. If Andre is Polly's father, then Talia is Polly's half-niece. That is a second-degree relative. The test was 100% accurate.
So Polly is not the daughter of Jack Goodman, the warm, loving father she adored her whole life. She is the daughter of the Ice Queen judge and a woodworker.
A woodworker from an alpaca farm in Vermont. It is the most unlikely pairing imaginable.
Polly has to confront her mother. I can't even imagine building up the courage to confront a judge about an affair from 44 years ago.
Polly goes to her, and for the very first time, the Honorable Mary Goodman cracks. She confesses.
What is the story? How did the judge and the woodworker even happen?
It was 44 years ago. Mary is younger, obviously. She met Andre, and she describes it not as a love affair, really, but as a brief, passionate lapse. She says he had that thing you can't explain.
Chemistry. Pure biological chemistry.
It was a fling, but it had real consequences. She got pregnant. And in a decision that defined the rest of her life and Polly's life, she decided to pass the child off as Jack's.
Jack never knew.
Jack never knew. He raised Polly as his own. He loved her as his own. And Mary is fiercely defiant about this. She looks Polly right in the eye and says, "Genes don't make a father."
Which, okay, she is right. But she's also the villain of the piece for lying for 4 decades.
It's incredibly complex, right?
Yeah.
Mary is technically correct. Jack was her father. He did the hard work. He gave the love. Andre was essentially a sperm donor with nice eyes. But the betrayal of the secret is just massive.
It completely reframes Polly's entire identity. She felt so disconnected from her mother and so connected to her father. Now she learns that biologically she is half her mother and half a total stranger. The man she loved, Jack, was the one with absolutely no biological link.
And that is the crux of the book's entire argument. Does biology actually matter? Polly has to decide. Does this revelation erase the love Jack gave her?
I think we all know the answer to that, but actually living it is different. How does she resolve this?
She chooses Jack. She accepts the truth. But she decides that the narrative she lived is far more important than the genetic code in a database. She decides to keep the secret.
She doesn't tell her brother Garrison.
No. She protects Garrison's memory of their parents. She realizes that the truth would only cause pain, and it wouldn't bring Jack back or change who he was to them. So she carries the secret. It becomes her burden now.
That is a very adult decision. It's a very mother decision, ironically, protecting the family peace at your own expense.
It really is. And in the midst of all this grieving, Sarah processing the massive DNA bomb, Polly realizes something else physically. She is late.
No way.
She has stopped the IVF. She has stopped the hormone shots. She's completely let go of the project of pregnancy. And naturally, quietly, she is conceived.
The miracle baby.
It's a trope we hear about often, but here it feels genuinely earned. It feels like a massive release of tension, she tells Mark. And his reaction is just pure, unfiltered joy.
I bet he brought home a stuffed animal.
He brings home a stuffed kangaroo.
Yeah.
And he sends her smiley face texts. It's the happy ending they had honestly stopped fighting for.
So we end the story in Sarah's cottage. Pauline and Mark are living there now.
They are. They are surrounded by the legacy of their best friend. They have a beautiful home. They have a solid, tested marriage. They have a complex but loving extended family with the Baileys and even the secret knowledge of the Burtons. And they have a child on the way.
Polly realizes she has more than enough.
Exactly. She moved from a mindset of deep scarcity, looking at the hole in her life, to realizing the whole of her life is actually overflowing.
It's such a powerful journey. It really asks us to question what we define as family.
I think the biggest takeaway is that family is an active verb. It's not a noun. It's not a blood test. Jack fathered her by loving her. Sarah mothered her by caring for her. The DNA test was just data. The love was the reality.
That is beautiful. Family is a verb. I'm going to put that on a pillow.
You should maybe sell it at the alpaca farm.
Pi is infinite on the front. Family is a verb on the back. We'll make millions.
Done. Sign me up.
So to wrap this up, I want to leave you, the listener, with the thought, a question to just mull over. If you took a test tomorrow that completely changed your biological history, would it change who you are today? Or, like Polly, would you realize that love is defined by action and not biology? It's something to think about.
Thank you so much for breaking this down with me. This was an absolute roller coaster.
It was a pleasure. Always happy to dive in.
And to our listeners, if you have a book club that doesn't actually read the books, keep going. It is important work. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.